Lost cities beneath the sands of the Sahara, the mystery of ancient civilizations. The boundless expanse of the Sahara, the world's greatest hot desert, holds not only harsh dunes and a blazing sun, but also ancient secrets buried beneath millennia of sand. These secrets are lost cities, once flourishing oases of life, culture, and trade that have slipped into oblivion. Their stories whisper of a time when the Sahara was not a lifeless desert, but a green savanna watered by rivers and lakes, where powerful civilizations lived and advanced. Garama, capital of the Garamantes. In the very heart of the Libyan Sahara, amid barren sands and rocky outcrops, lies Garama, the ancient capital of the enigmatic Garamantes. This civilization, which flourished from the 5th century BCE to the 7th century CE, defied the desert's severity by building a unique irrigation system, fogaras, or kanats. These underground channels collected water from deep aquifers and brought it to the surface, allowing the Garamantes to farm in a seemingly barren land. Garama was more than a city. It was the center of a powerful state that controlled trans-Saharan trade routes. Its wealth rested on the trade in gold, ivory, slaves, and precious stones carried from the depths of Africa to the Mediterranean. The city must have been a striking sight. Strong walls against nomad raids, majestic temples to unknown gods, and residential quarters housing thousands. Homes of mud brick and stone often featured inner courtyards, typical of Near Eastern architecture. Archaeological excavations in Garama, begun in the mid-20th century, revealed striking evidence of a sophisticated culture. Hundreds of tombs were found, many as stone-covered tumuli, some as more complex structures with burial chambers and stelae. Grave goods attest to the Garamantes' material wealth: ceramics, bronze items, jewelry, and imports from the Roman Empire and other Mediterranean cultures, clear proof of broad trading ties. Beyond the capital, the Garamantes left numerous settlements, forts, and necropolises across Libya's Fezzan. One of their most puzzling legacies is their writing, so-called Libyco-Berber inscriptions, still not fully deciphered. Carved on stones and stelae, they preserve names, titles, and brief messages that could reveal even more about this remarkable desert-defying civilization. The Garamantes reached their apogee in the 1st to 3rd century CE, but from the 5th century onward, as the Roman Empire weakened and the climate shifted toward greater aridity, their state declined. Fogaras, which required constant maintenance, gradually clogged, aquifers dwindled, and urban life grew ever harder. By the 7th century, with the arrival of Arab conquerors, Garama was finally abandoned, its people dispersing or assimilating with newcomers. Today, the ruins of Garama, partially buried by sand, still guard their secrets, awaiting research that may cast new light on a civilization that dared to challenge the desert. Tassili Najir, a city on the plateau. Far in southeastern Algeria, on the vast Tassili Najir Plateau, its name meaning plateau of rivers, there are not cities in the usual sense, but extraordinary records of an ancient way of life in conditions utterly unlike today's. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Tassili Najir is famed for its astonishing rock paintings and engravings, an archive of the Sahara frozen in stone. The plateau is a maze of rock formations, deep canyons and sand dunes carved by eons of erosion. Beneath this geologic wonder lies a story stretching back thousands of years, to a time when the Sahara was very different. Thousands of paintings and petroglyphs on cave walls and rock shelters show animals now found only in savannas and tropical forests: elephants, giraffes, rhinos, hippos, and buffalo. These images testify that rivers flowed here, lakes dotted the land, and lush vegetation sustained abundant wildlife. Tassili art also depicts people engaged in hunting, herding, harvesting, dancing, and rituals. Some of the earliest works, the Bubbaline period, circa 9000 to 6000 BCE, are strikingly realistic and detailed. They are followed by the Round-Headed period, circa 6000 to 4000 BCE, with mysterious anthropomorphic figures reminiscent of extraterrestrials, and the Pastoral period, circa 4000 to 1500 BCE, reflecting the spread of herding across the Sahara. Finally, the Horse period, circa 1500 BCE to early CE, and the Camel period, from the start of the Common Era, track the advance of aridity and the arrival of animals adapted to desert life. Although no great monumental cities have been found here, the art and artifact indicate developed communities. People built temporary camps of huts and shelters near water sources and fertile patches. Stone tools, pottery, and other finds help reconstruct everyday life. One of Tassili's most intriguing puzzles is the imagery that some interpret as evidence of contact with extraterrestrials, while others see ritual or shamanic scenes. The round-headed figures, sometimes in strange attire or holding unusual objects, invite endless questions and add to the mystique of the site. The decline of Tassili's cultures was directly tied to climate change. As desertification advanced some 5,000 years ago, people left in search of more hospitable lands. Rivers dried, vegetation vanished, animals migrated. Those who remained adapted by turning to nomadism. Today, Tassili Najir is both an archaeological treasure and a grand open-air museum, a reminder of the dramatic environmental shifts on our planet and the resilience of ancient peoples who survived and thrived in the harshest conditions.
Wadi al-Ma, Valley of Forgotten Oases. On the western edge of the Libyan Sahara, in Fezzan, lies Wadi al-Ma, the Valley of Water. The name sounds ironic today, yet it preserves the memory of a time when this valley was a fertile oasis sustaining entire towns and settlements. Though less famous than Garama or Tassili Najjer, Wadi al-Ma holds equally intriguing traces of ancient civilizations now buried in sand. Wadi al-Ma is a network of dry riverbeds that once carried water, nourished vegetation, and enabled agriculture. Along these wadis stood numerous settlements that flourished before full desertification. Archaeology has uncovered remains of villages with stone and mud brick houses, evidence of sedentary communities practicing farming and herding. Among the most interesting finds are palm farms, remnants of ancient irrigation akin to Garamanti fogaras, though perhaps simpler, channels and catch basins that allowed the cultivation of date palms and other crops despite scarce water. These farms formed the economic backbone of local communities. The inhabitants also traded along trans-Saharan routes. Finds include locally made pottery as well as imported goods, proving participation in wide trade networks. Bronze items, glass and shell beads, and various ornaments point to a developed material culture and external links. Petroglyphs and rock art, though less numerous than at Tassili Najjer, depict antelopes, ostriches, hunting scenes, and daily life, helping to reconstruct the region's ecology and cultural practices. Decline here was gradual and inevitable as the climate dried. Water sources dwindled, rivers vanished, farming failed, and people migrated to better lands. Today, the valley is desert, but every stone and potsherd whispers of the time when it truly was a valley of water, home to unique and hardy Saharan civilizations. Jebel Uanat, an oasis of art. On the borders of Libya, Egypt, and Sudan rises Jebel Uanat, an isolated massif that, despite its position in one of the Sahara's harshest corners, was once an oasis of life and a center of artistic activity. Like Tassili Najer, it is not a city in the usual sense, but a unique archaeological complex whose rock art recounts the history of civilizations that thrived here long before the desert took over. Peaks exceeding 1,900 meters sheltered people and animals during periods when the surrounding lowlands were already drying out. In deep ravines and beneath rock overhangs survive thousands of paintings and engravings dating from the Neolithic into historical times. Uanat's art is notable for its variety and high quality. Scenes show hunting elephants, giraffes, antelopes, and gazelles, evidence of once rich fauna. Human figures appear hunting with bows and spears, gathering and performing ritual dances. Some are stylized, others strikingly realistic. One hallmark is the swimmers, figures portrayed as if swimming, found in the Cave of Swimmers. Scholars debate whether these reflect actual bodies of water or symbolize spiritual practices and metaphors linked to water. Either way, they underscore ancient people's deep bond with water, vital to survival. Archaeological finds, stone tools, pottery, hearths, attest to temporary camps and settlements, illuminating daily life and technology. People hunted and gathered, and likely practiced rudimentary herding, as suggested by later depictions of cattle. As elsewhere, climate change brought decline. Desertification about 5,000 years ago erased water and vegetation, forcing abandonment. Today, Uanat is remote and difficult to reach, yet its art remains a vivid testament to the Sahara's rich past and to thriving cultures that left a silent, eloquent message from the deep past.
A ghost city in Mauritania. Deep in Mauritania's sands, where nothing seems to exist but endless dunes, lie the ruins of Ugama, a ghost city once a prosperous hub of trans-Saharan trade. Also known as Kumbi Sala, it is considered one of the capitals of the ancient Ghana Empire, one of West Africa's earliest great states. Ugama's history is cloaked in mystery due to scarce and conflicting written sources. Most information comes from medieval Arabic chronicles and from archaeological work begun in the mid-20th century. The city likely arose in the early Middle Ages, perhaps as early as the 8th century, and reached its zenith in the 10th to 12th centuries when Ghana controlled much of the gold and salt trade of West Africa. Sited on a crucial trade artery linking southern goldfields to northern salt mines and North African markets, Ugama's wealth rested on this strategic position. Gold from the south was exchanged for Sahara salt, vital for preserving food and health in a hot climate. Excavations reveal a large city covering about 40 hectares, with stone and mud brick houses, street traces, and public buildings. A notable discovery is a mosque, proof of Islam's spread here, built of stone in a style characteristic of West African Islamic architecture. Abundant artifacts, pottery, iron objects, glass and shell beads, textile fragments, jewelry, confirm the city's prosperity and cultured life, with many items imported from North Africa and the Middle East. The city's layout is puzzling, apparently two distinct parts, one inhabited by Muslim merchants and another by local animist groups, reflecting complex social structures and cultural interaction in medieval West Africa. Multiple factors caused decline. In the 13th century, central authority weakened, new trade routes arose, and Almoravid nomad raids struck. Climatic drying worsened conditions. By the 14th century, Ugama was abandoned and swallowed by the sands. Timgad, a Roman city in Algeria. While many Saharan lost cities belong to prehistoric or early medieval African cultures, the desert also preserves traces of Rome. One of the most vivid examples is Timgad, Thamugadi, in modern Algeria on the Sahara's northern fringe in the Oris foothills. Not merely a lost city, It is an exceptionally preserved sample of Roman urban design, offering a window into life and culture in imperial North Africa. Founded by Emperor Trajan around 100 CE as a military colony for army veterans, Timgad's strategic location helped control local tribes and secure Numidia's borders. The plan followed classic Roman principles: a square grid with two main streets, Decumanus Maximus and Cardo Maximus, intersecting at right angles, the regular grid dividing the city into blocks. Timgad flourished, populated by veterans, their families, and local people who adopted Roman culture. It reached tens of thousands. It boasted all the amenities of Roman towns: a forum, amphitheater, baths, temples, a library, even a water supply. Many survive in remarkable condition. The forum was the civic heart, with key administrative and religious buildings. The amphitheater seated thousands for gladiatorial games and performances. Mosaic-adorned baths served as social centers. Temples to Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva reflect religious life. Perhaps most impressive is Trajan's Arch, a monumental gateway richly decorated with reliefs and inscriptions, a symbol of Roman grandeur and engineering. Timgad's economy rested on agriculture, especially grain and olives, and on trade. Its location made it a vital link between Africa's interior and the Mediterranean coast. Decline began in the 5th century with Rome's weakening and Vandal invasions. Although the Byzantines partially restored it in the 6th century, it never regained its former glory. With Arab expansion in the 7th century, Timgad was abandoned and slowly reclaimed by sands and scrub. Today, Timgad is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the world's best preserved Roman cities. Its partially unearthed ruins let us peer into the past and imagine provincial life in Roman North Africa, a ghost city on the Sahara's edge that still astonishes and recalls Rome's power and reach.
Odogast, City of Gold and Salt. Another lost city tied to the history of West Africa's ancient empires is Odogast in modern Mauritania. Like Kukia, Kumbi Saleh, it was a key trans-Saharan trade center, prospering thanks to its strategic place on routes linking North Africa to southern goldfields. Founded, it seems, by Sanaha Berbers in the early Middle Ages, perhaps as early as the 7th century, Odogast quickly grew and by the 9th century was among the region's most important cities. Situated at crossroads carrying gold from Ouagadougou and Bambouk in the south, and salt from Saharan mines such as Tahassa and Taudeni in the north, it attracted a multi-ethnic population of Berbers, Arabs, and sub-Saharan Africans. Markets traded gold, salt, grain, dates, textiles, slaves, and more. Urban infrastructure likely included mosques, merchants' houses, and water systems. Dates, cultivated in surrounding oases, were especially important both as staple food and export. In the 11th century, Odogast became a flashpoint between the Ghana Empire and the rising Almoravids. In 1054, the Almoravids seized the city, marking the start of their push south and contributing to Ghana's decline. Although Odogast remained a trade center under Almoravid sway, its fate was tied to the dynasty's fortunes. With their weakening in the 12th century and shifts in trade routes, the city declined. Further aridification worsened conditions. By the 13th-14th centuries, Odogast was abandoned, its ruins consumed by the sands. Ongoing archaeology helps reconstruct its former greatness. Though less visually impressive than some sites, it testifies to the rich history of trans-Saharan commerce and cultural exchange. A ghost city, it still whispers of a time when the Sahara was not just a barrier, but a bridge connecting cultures. Adrar Busi, an oasis in the heart of Niger. In one of Niger's driest, most remote zones, the Tenere Desert, lies Adrar Busi, a place preserving traces of an ancient civilization that existed long before the modern desert. Known as a stone desert today, thousands of years ago it was a fertile oasis teeming with people and animals. Adrar Busi is not a city in the usual sense, but an extensive archaeological complex of ancient camps, necropolis, and cultural remains. Numerous stone tools, pottery, and hearths date from the Neolithic, circa 10,000 to 4,500 years ago, showing a progression from hunting and gathering to herding. Rock engravings and paintings, though fewer than at Tassili, depict antelopes, giraffes, ostriches, and scenes of hunting and daily life, helping reconstruct past ecology and culture. Among the most striking finds are necropolis with dozens of burials dating from about 7,500 to 4,500 years ago, human remains and grave goods, shell and stone ornaments, ceramics, tools, allow insights into diet, health, and lifeways. The renowned Adrar Busi burial complex includes a woman and 2 children interred with rich ivory and shell adornments, evidence of elaborate funerary rites and perhaps social stratification. Adrar Busi's decline resulted from catastrophic climate change. As the Sahara dried about 4,500 years ago, waters and vegetation disappeared, rendering the region uninhabitable. People migrated, leaving silent witnesses to their existence. Today, Adrar Busi is one of the Sahara's most inaccessible and least studied archaeological areas. Yet each artifact and discovery bring us closer to understanding the ancient civilizations that once flourished in the desert's heart, a mute witness to dramatic planetary changes, and a reminder that even the driest, bleakest places can harbor rich and compelling histories.
Weadan and Shingeti, pearls of the Mauritanian desert. In central Mauritania's Adrar Plateau stand 2 ancient towns, Weadan and Shingeti. Not entirely lost, they remain partially inhabited, but their former grandeur belongs to the past, when they were key nodes of trans-Saharan trade and Islamic learning. Both are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, living witnesses to the Sahara's history and cultural wealth. Weadan, Wadan. Founded in the 11th, 12th centuries by Berber tribes as a trading post on a major route linking Morocco to West Africa's interior, Weadan prospered through commerce in gold, salt, dates, camels, and slaves. Its strategic position controlled access to crucial salt mines and caravan paths. By the 15th-16th centuries, it boomed, with mosques, madrasas, and the houses of wealthy merchants and artisans. Stone and mud brick architecture with narrow lanes and inner courtyards mitigated heat and sandstorms. Renowned libraries held manuscripts on Islam, astronomy, medicine, and more, drawing students and scholars. With the rise of maritime routes in the 16th century, trans-Saharan trade declined. Climate shifts and nomad raids compounded the downturn. Residents drifted away, and Weadan became a ghost city. Today, most of it lies in ruins beneath sand, though its ancient mosque and some houses still recall its former glory. Shingeti. Established in the 13th century southeast of Weadan, Shingeti quickly became a major trading and religious center. Its name, taken from the founding tribe, became synonymous with learning and piety in West Africa. Prosperous from caravan trade, it was above all a center of Islamic scholarship and pilgrimage. Numerous madrasas and private libraries housed thousands of manuscripts, some dating to the 9th century, covering Quran and Hadith, mathematics, astronomy, geography, and law. Shingeti served as a staging point for pilgrims bound for Mecca, earning the epithet the 7th Holy City of Islam. Its architecture, stone and mud brick houses, narrow lanes, and inner courtyards, is typical of the Sahara Sahel style. The 13th century Great Mosque, with its square minaret and austere grandeur, is an iconic sight. Decline followed shifts in trade and climate in the 17th and 18th centuries as European maritime powers rose. Desertification made life harder, and many left. Today, Chinguetti still has inhabitants, though far fewer. Much lies in ruins, but the mosque, several old houses, and especially the private libraries continue to attract researchers and travelers, a living museum of the Sahara's intellectual and cultural heritage. Together, Weadan and Chinguetti are the last gleams of a bygone splendor, whispering of a time when the desert's heart beat to the rhythms of trade, learning, and spirituality. Jenny Geno, the unknown pearl of Mali. On the inland delta of the Niger River, in present-day Mali, lies the archaeological site of Jenny Geno, Old Djenné. Not a city under Saharan sands in the strict sense, it sits by the river, its story is tightly interwoven with ancient trans-Saharan civilizations and their decline. Jenny Geno is among West Africa's most important archaeological discoveries, revealing secrets of early urbanism and social organization. Founded around 250 BC, it is one of West Africa's oldest cities. It prospered as a major center of trade, agriculture, and crafts, thanks to its strategic position in the fertile inland delta. It was a vital link in networks connecting the Sahara with the southern forest zones and the Atlantic coast. Excavations since the late 19th century uncovered a large city that by the 9th century covered about 33 hectares and housed tens of thousands. Built of mud brick and clay, hallmarks of West African architecture, the city included houses, workshops, warehouses, and public buildings. Remarkably, early Jenny Geno shows no centralized political structure. It consisted of several autonomous quarters, each specializing in activities such as pottery, metalworking, weaving, or farming, likely organized by kinship or craft guilds. The economy was based on agriculture, especially rice and millet, and on fishing. It was also a craft powerhouse, producing ceramics, iron goods, textiles, and jewelry. These were exchanged for Saharan salt, southern gold, and other goods moving along trade routes. Metallurgy was crucial. Traces of forges and iron slag indicate advanced ironworking. Iron tools and weapons were valuable trade items and gave military advantages. Decline began in the 14th century as a new city, Jenny, nearby, rose to prominence as a center of Islam and trans-Saharan trade. Changes in the Niger's channel and other factors likely contributed. Today, Jenny Geno is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, whose partly buried ruins still impress with their scale and complexity, a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of an ancient people who built a complex urban culture far from the traditional cradles of civilization. Conclusion: The Whisper of Sands. The tales of lost cities beneath the Sahara's sands are more than archaeological finds. They're a gripping saga of ancient civilizations that challenged the desert and left behind astonishing evidence of their life, culture, and achievements. From majestic Garama to artistic Jebel Ouenit, from the trading hubs of Ugama and Audagast to Roman Timgad and the Islamic jewels of Weadan and Chinguetti, each tells a unique story. These cities remind us that the Sahara was not always a barren wasteland. Thousands of years ago, it was a green savanna, laced with rivers and lakes, where diverse ecosystems thrived and powerful civilizations arose. Climate change, leading to desertification, was the chief cause of their decline and oblivion. Studying the Sahara's lost cities not only deepens our knowledge of humanity's past, but it also reveals how societies adapt to changing environments. We see how ancient people used knowledge and ingenuity to survive, building unique irrigation systems, expanding trade, and raising impressive cities. Yet many Saharan mysteries remain. Millions of square kilometers of sand and stone still hide countless secrets, awaiting discovery. Each new artifact, inscription, and trace brings us closer to solving this extraordinary story. The lost cities beneath the Sahara are not merely ruins, they are the whisper of the past, calling us deeper into the desert to open new chapters of human history. They remind us of civilization's fragility and nature's power, that even the most prosperous cities can be swallowed by the sands of time, while their stories endure to inspire and teach.